Hello, everyone. It's Michael Jaco with Unleashing Intuition Secrets, time travel, and all the different things go with that. It's going to be very interesting going forward. So, this is stuff I've been talking about for years, and now President Trump is talking about it. Hallelujah! So it is definitely a good time to be alive, and it's a good time to show up and be part of waking up America. All right. So very, very good to see you guys here. So let's jump in. Of course, there are, complications for raising consciousness. Some of those are the Supreme Court issues order pausing deportations. Wow. Under Alien Enemies Act. So they give it and then they take it. Right? They gave them the ability to do that. And now they're like, no. And it's like, okay. So I talked about this in another show where we're looking at, and we have to have the judicial side on board with Trump. And those that aren't need to be removed, or there needs to be another system in place to come into place, which basically, moves things along at a more rapid pace, because things can't move along with this, as you're seeing, with this judicial system, corrupt judicial system, constantly getting in the way. All right, so the U.S. Supreme Court ordered the Trump administration early Saturday morning to pause the deportation, and we're talking early. We're talking like 1 a.m. they voted. Wow. All right. You guys are like burning the candlelight late. So your little black robes and candles and so what do you guys got going on there? The court did not grant or deny the use of the Alien Enemies Act to remove the illegal aliens, who the Trump administration claims are Tren de Aragua, right? Gang members, Venezuelan gang members. But instead, the justices simply hit the pause on the matter. So our president, who we voted in, that we want to, one of the main things we wanted was for him to get rid of these illegal aliens. Because as many of us know, and more of us are starting to realize, we have upwards of 10 million people that were brought here to start a civil war, to be part of a civil war, because Americans don't want it. Americans don't want it. There's a few out there in some cities that want it. But overall, Americans don't want it. So they had to bring in violent criminals to be part of a civil war, guys. And they have distributed ammunition that has come across the border, some of it all the way from Afghanistan. Imagine that. And have made it into on trucks and ships and all kinds of stuff. When you say ships, what do you mean, Mike? Ships up into the United States? Yeah, up the Mississippi River. All the river systems pretty much throughout the United States can move a lot of cargo, guys. So in some of these cargo containers have been weapons, children, weapons. The easiest and most effective way they can move the weapons and the children and other people, all right, human trafficking, is right up the Mississippi River, right up there. There's, Al Gore and a lot of other, people, families, bad families. I can't go too far here, but I've had many guests on that have talked about this. They're involved. A lot of these families are involved in making money through this illicit trade. So why do you think the Democrats and the political system, Democrats, Dems, DEMS 13, all right, and the judicial system is trying to stop the movement of illegal aliens? So I promise you, a lot of these illegal aliens that are being as fast as possible moved out of the United States is putting a crimp in the takedown of America through the Civil War. All right. And so I've always said we're not going to have a civil war. I said that 5 years ago. People were asking me 5 years ago, do you think we're going into civil war? No, we're not going to civil war, but I do see some cities If you look at Ukraine, you see cities that are completely bombed out. Completely bombed out. Right? I unfortunately see that in a lot of cities, and I've said that for quite some time. I hope that's not going to happen, but my hopes and wishes don't often, you know, mix with reality. Reality is what we create with our thoughts, and if we have very evil people that are creating our reality, we don't stand up and stop it and create the reality that we desire, which is none of that happening, then they win. Then they're going to have that reality to a certain extent. And then when people say, oh, no, I didn't want that. Oh, was I supposed to stand up and get active early on? I didn't realize that until now. They're like banging on my door trying to like kill me. It's like, yeah, it's time to like, fight back now. Right. But unfortunately, I think a lot of people is going to take that, and a lot of people won't survive that. So we'll see, a very limited engagement going forward. So the Trump administration is trying to limit that. Now, if Trump hadn't come in, then probably around this time frame, we would have seen a massive outbreak of hostilities, right? But I think they were caught flat-footed, and they're knocked on their heels, and they're trying to recover. And I've said right from the beginning when Trump got elected, because I saw him get elected. You guys might remember I said several weeks before the election, I was like, he's going to be elected. I haven't seen it till now, but he's going to be elected, and everyone has to get out and start voting now, right? And that's what we all did. We got out and we voted all the way up for weeks before the election, and landslide in a lot of places. The only place there was no landslides, or the only place that Trump did not win, were states that did not have voter ID. Because we know that all of these illegal aliens that came in, not all of them, but many of them were given IDs and so forth and allowed to vote. That's a given. We already know that. All right. We said that early on. Trump said that early on. The reason why they're bringing the illegal aliens in because they want them to vote. So we know that happened, but it didn't happen on the level that they anticipated because there were good people that got involved. Right. So in some places, good people couldn't get involved. Right. Some states is very limited what people can do. Good people. I think that is changing as more people are waking up to this. This should be a wake-up call right now where these Dems are going down to try and get this criminal out of jail and bring him back to America. That is insane. So as the Trump administration is trying to send more criminals, and we have even the Supreme Court that has pressure from other groups, other lawyers, Bar Association, British accredited registered lawyers that are coming in and putting pressure on the Supremes. And the Supremes are like, well, we got to make a decision here all the way in the middle of the night, right? So the Supremes are like 5-4. You have 5, conservatives and 4 liberals. The liberals usually vote, against often the policies of the United States of America, the policies of the people. All right. So that's the way it's going to continue. And share, yes, until we get our frequency high. All right. But we're not going to get a frequency high until we overcome, I promise you, this corrupt judicial thing. Right. And until we do, we will just skirt along. And as things roll along slowly, that gives them time to get back on their feet, get these people armed, and start problems. Right? We've already seen the beginnings of this. We saw the beginnings of this during the George Floyd riots, and we saw BLM and Antifa. They weren't violent enough. Although we saw cities burn like crazy in big blue cities, right? And that will come again for those big blue cities. It will come again, I promise you, but not on a great level, right? It'll just be contained to like 16 or 17 cities, right? And the Trump administration has already kind of talk about this. We'll probably lose 16 or 17 cities. We'll probably lose 17 cities. We've already been talking about this. This is not going to be something new. And I don't believe it's something that can be avoided. But although I hope and pray, and I'm raising my vibration, hopefully raising the vibration of other people by informing them and getting them to get on board with stopping the corrupt judicial side. If we don't stop it, limited civil war in cities, unquestionable, right? So that is what we're headed for. We really must be proactive and voice our displeasure with all these Democrats that are running down there to get their civil war starters. All right. So as fast as the Trump administration has been trying to get these people out, they have them down at the border ready to start shipping them out. They were going to ship a bunch of them to out to the camp down in the spa, Diego Garcia, not Diego Garcia, but that could be another spot all the way out on that island in Guam, but down in Guantanamo. So Gitmo. Get on down there to Gitmo. Get on down there. Get on down the road. So if we don't get those criminals out of our country and down the road, then they're going to be rioting and killing and blowing stuff up and shooting and burning and raping and pillaging. That's coming, all right? Absolutely. I don't think that you guys know. You guys know what I'm talking about. The problem is we have to convince those people that are slow on the learning process, right? And a lot of them, unfortunately, have been moved in different directions consciousness-wise. Very frustrating, but it is yes, enough is enough. Of course, we feel that way, but we are a percentage of America. There's a percentage of America. Do you know that today? April 19th, of course, it's the day before Easter. Happy Easter, early Easter. It's the day before Easter, and it's also April 20th is when Hitler was born. It's just like I just hear all this stuff. I'm like, wow. And it kind of rolls around, where Easter is. But anyway, April 19th, 250 years ago today, is when Lexington and Concord, the British, came out with, I think it was like 700 British soldiers, and there were 77 patriots from a militia. Militia is going to be very important going forward into the future, I believe. Militias. And militias are just people like me that, have a background and get together and form up and, stop madness, right? Stop the madness. And the shot heard round the world. That's right, Marcy. So there was a big boom because everybody's like, how those little colonists take on the most powerful nation in the world, the most powerful army in the world, right? So they did, and the rest is history. Now, those shots were just the beginning, of course, of Revolutionary War. The Revolutionary War drug on for a very long time. It was hit or miss quite a lot. Valley Forge, everybody was like despondent. They've had their butts kicked all the way back into Mount Vernon, and not Mount Vernon, but where was that? Where was Valley Forge? Pennsylvania. Valley Forge, Pennsylvania. I always wanted to go there. I got to go check that place out because I believe I've been there in the past. Right? Well, I know I have, but I believe that I've been there and during that time frame. Right? So past life thing, and it was tough back then. It was tough to get everybody rallied up. It was tough to get the money, the funding, and so forth. But eventually, it was turned around. The Patriots basically came through and pushed back. People of great moral character and so forth stayed the course. Washington, very much like President Trump, very much like him. Held the line, rallied everyone, kept fighting against all odds, and eventually, we won the Revolutionary War. But how much of it did we win? It was basically a facade. A facade. There was, there's money that's involved in all these things. These wars have to be paid for. People came through to pay for these wars, Masonic groups and so forth, and they want some return. And I think that's what happened. There was return for that. We have Masonic halls in every, pretty much probably every county in America. So, is that good? Is it bad? Everything can be good or bad, right? I think there's good and bad in everything. It's depending on, just like our judicial system, just like our presidency. We've seen bad. We've seen good. I believe we have good now. We had bad. Our judicial side, there are good people within the judicial system on both sides. And then there are some that are quite bad. All right. So we have to be able to, yes, figure it out, James. We have to, you get it figured out. Oh, you're talking about something else. But you have to get it figured out. And we have to work together to overcome adversity. As a Navy SEAL and working in the CIA, we had to overcome impossible odds all the time. I'm the impossible odds guy, right? And I know how to win. I know how to focus. So my focus right now is overcoming the bad judicial side, and we have to do it. And if we don't do it, then we know what happens. We fail, but we're not going to fail. But we have, unfortunately, some baddies out there, like Boasberg. Last month, issued a temporary restraining order barring the U.S. from using the Alien Enemies Act to rapidly deport illegal aliens. Rapidly is a key right now, guys, and that's not happening with these judges and the Supremes coming in and putting the kibosh on this. This needs to happen. And then you had like some health inspectors that sound like like something we went through like 5 years ago. They got involved down in Guantanamo, and they said, "Oh, you got to have you got to have electricity to these tents. You got to have AC to these tents. You can't put people in these." And so they were going to put 20,000 people down there, and they squashed it, right? So they're putting them down on the border. There's huge facilities down on the border. And no, I don't see a civil war, S. Bates, but I do see limited conflict in many big cities. I've been talking about that for years. So if you haven't been, following me for a while, then that's what's going on. Limited conflict is coming. We're already in limited conflict. We just saw a little bit of limited conflict. We saw limited conflict with the George Floyd riots. This is what I'm trying to get to. We saw burning in cities, lots of burning, billions. I think it's upwards of over $1 trillion worth of damage. Multiple people killed, dozens of people killed, life shattered, businesses shattered, and they almost took down the White House. They tried to scale the fence of the White House and get inside the White House and burn it with President Trump in there. And he had to, get down into the bunker system. And fortunately, they were able to stop them at the fences. They erected some more fences around the White House, and they stopped it out. They burned part of a church where, who was it? Abraham Lincoln used to go. And Trump went there with his Bible, and everybody said that he used tear gas to push back the crowd. And he was evil for doing that. Wow. Wow. So we almost had a group that burned the White House, burned a 150-year-old church or something. And it's all President Trump's fault. And of course, he had General Millie Vanilli, that came in and said, "Yeah, I didn't agree with Trump. I wish I hadn't even gone with him." But if Trump ever told me that we're going to strike China, I would tell China. I would tell China that we're coming. I would tell my counterpart in China. That sounds like treason, boy. And you know what happens with people who do treason? Or you haven't seen General Milley in a while, have we? So I think a lot of that is coming. maybe it's already happened. I don't know. We'll see going forward. There's people that have been talking about this, and I think it's coming. I've heard on some other shows where people have come in that are very reputable, and they've talked about how we were moving towards a civil war, like I was talking about, a big one. If Trump had come in, it would have gone down, but he came in, and now we have a very great chance, better than we had, of avoiding a larger activity. So it's getting shut down, but the judicial is getting in the way of making it less of a problem, and maybe even stopping the majority of it and making it extremely limited. George Floyd was wagged the dog with witchcraft spells, all kind of stuff, Sherry, no doubt. Colorado needs to be cleaned out, no doubt. Colorado, geez, I remember when I used to go to Colorado, that was a red state. Serious patriots, and it's not so much now. So sad, but it's just like everywhere else, guys. The big cities like Denver and so forth are, not so much. And the countryside is like God-loving people, God-loving. Now I hear people say God-fearing. Do you really fear God? You know that fear is a very negative emotion, right? Don't say that. All right. I hear people say that. I'm like, you don't really mean that, I don't think. Or maybe you do. Maybe you do fear God, and that's sad that you would. You should be God-loving. Now, I think a lot of people just repeat that because a lot of people say that, but you really, really need to focus on your words right now, because words are very powerful. And I've talked about the love vibration. Everyone knows that love is the most strongest force in the universe. So why would you have fear for God? You should have love for God. You should, attract that love to yourself and everything around you. So words are important. It creates a consciousness. It creates a frequency. So please use the correct verbiage. All right. And if you want to be in fear, that's fine, because then if you stay in fear, that's how they stay powerful, because they're always trying to invoke fear. All right. So the Supremes, very disappointing in their movement. I think they're getting out of line. Guys. And you know what happens at some point. It needs to go military tribunals. All right. I don't know what is going to kick that off, how that transponds, what is going to happen to make that move forward. I would hope that we're able to get control of the corrupt judicial system. It seems daunting, but I think there's a possibility. And if we do get control of the judicial, I think there's a very even chance that we won't have but limited conflict. But you need to be very realistic about the chances for that happening at this point. All right. So, Supreme Court blocks for now new deportations under Alien Enemies Act. Like I said, it was around 1. In a brief order, the court directed the Trump administration not to remove Venezuelans held in the Bluebonnet Detention Center until, this is in Texas. They have a lot of people. They geared up before Trump came in office. They started gearing up for massive detainment centers, guys. Massive. And Bluebonnet is one of them. Detention center until further order of this court. So the executive branch is being restricted by the judicial. Let that sink in. All right. So there's supposed to be balance. But when you have basically a war going on, guys, and we're at the precipice of this thing, turning very ugly, with 10 million illegal aliens in our country, and many of them, as we know, are violent, very violent people that have been brought in here just for the just for the purpose of causing conflict, just for starting civil war, right? So the American Civil Liberties Union, so more lawyers, a bunch of lawyers probably paid by the Democrats, contending that immigration authorities appeared to be moving to restart removals under the Alien Enemies Act of 1798. The Supreme Court had said earlier in April that deportation could proceed. You can do it, now you can't. You can do it, now you can't. You can do it. It's bullshit. It's bullshit, right? So Justices Clarence Thomas and Samuel Alito dissented. They're like, nada, no, keep that thing rolling. So we had some other ones that obviously jumped in and said, stop it, right? So I don't know how this goes forward, guys. Legally, something has to transpire. Executive orders. We're moving. There was a lot of people that said January 20th was going to be some day of action. We know that on that day there was a sacrifice, pretty much. Christ was sacrificed. And will we move into today? I think it was today, right? And then he was moved into the crypt. And the boulder was rolled over, and the two Roman soldiers, showed up, and they're like, "Hey, it's quiet here. I'm just going to take a nap." Right? And then the boulder rolled back, and Jesus walked out, and he was all light, and Mary Magdalene was there, and Mother Mary was there, and they're like, "Oh!" So it's we're in that environment where we know the baddies don't like that. They don't like God. They don't like the light, and their darkness. So we have people that were in the court system that are part of the darkness that are trying to shut down the light. We've talked about this over and over and over again over the last 5 years. This is the battle of dark versus light. All right. So ACLU lawyer Lee Gellert said in an email, "We are deeply relieved that the court has temporarily blocked the removals. Geez, we really need these criminals to stay here so we can start the Civil War." All right. These individuals were in imminent danger of spending the rest of their lives in a brutal Salvadorian prison without ever having had any due process. Hello, what part of illegal alien don't you clowns understand? They're here illegally. They don't have rights. Period. End of story. What the wow. So a lot of these people, have they're criminals. They're criminals. Like the one guy we shipped out of here, beat his wife, and was arrested and all kind of crazy stuff. So the New Mexico judge abruptly resigns after suspected Trinidad gangbanger arrested for firearm possession at his home. New Mexico judge supplying arms and ammunition to the enemy. Hello. How much more you think of this is going on? This is just one that got discovered. Guys. This is far greater. There is a lot more of this going on. So, meanwhile, these demon rats. I have a demonology course that I'm doing in my Unleashing Intuition courses, and the second one I did one. There's going to be 5 of them. I did one, and I have the second one that I'm going to do after this show, and put in that. So some people are saving money. They're getting in there while I'm building the course. The 5 different courses, about an hour and a half for each one of the lectures. Deep insight. I basically explain what's going on with the demonology across the United States and the world, and how it's been, greatly inputted here in America, and how to overcome it. So drag group mocks Christianity, hosts trainee Easter event for kids with Hunky Jesus and Foxy Mary contest. All right. So things have obviously degenerated here in America. When I was a kid, that nothing like that would have ever happened. No way, anywhere. So blasphemous, absolutely. Art on the lake. It's insane how far the darkness has crept in and pretty much taken over in a lot of different areas. All right, so the Easter, is it really the dates and what? There's lots of different things that are going on with that. I'm not going to go into the depth of that right now, but and I know there are definitely problems with all the different religions and how they've come in to manipulate and control a lot of that, the teachings. So, all right. So let's look at. I'm gonna share my X account, and we're gonna look at a few things. So you see here, Blue Origin space flight colors are like. What's that? You guys recognize that little place on that island? Yep, Island, right? And of course, the Origin. There's Katy Perry. So let's look at this demonic stuff. Let's go down this rabbit hole. So this is a really good one. You guys are going to like it. This is from Donut. So I like Donut. We basically we've been high-fiving over the years. He maintained his YouTube. He still has a YouTube, but he's mostly in Rumble like I am. And I've crept back out. I'm somehow back here on YouTube. I don't know if God's like working here or what. Trump effect, I think, is happening, obviously, because we had the Elon effect in X, and that helped for the big Don to come back, right? Because they were shutting down all the social media, and we basically moved it in the opposite direction. All right, let's watch a little Donut.
Associated with fertility. Avert Katy Perry underneath the Baphomet. When you flip this symbol around, it is the Baphomet. The goat imagery is associated with fertility. The virgin uterus went into space. Jeff Bezos' phallic went into space. The Space Force hat all show the uterus. And when they are rocketed off into space, they're floating in the womb. While we see the Baphomet symbol trend worldwide, Lady Gaga doing the Baphomet, the #1 viral meme, doing the exact Baphomet hand gesture, Amazon, a Mason, with the phallic for the prime, because the whole rocket program was created through sex magic. The goddess symbolism is prominent in the secret societies, going back to the Eleusinian mystery cults. We even see Ishtar at the top of the symbolism, and Libra. There's the 33. How many people notice this? The 33 right there at the bottom. We even have the Libra scales wearing the blue dress. They're all wearing blue on the space mission because Libra is known for blue. Here is a viral picture of Katy.
What else does Libra have? Did you see those scales of justice? Mm-hmm.
Perry, who also is Ishtar in her Super Bowl rituals. She's riding the lion. Here's an image of Ishtar riding the lion. The Super Bowl rituals are all dedicated to Ishtar for this moment that we're in now with spring. And here's the 8-pointed star of Ishtar. That's right here. She's doing the secret of Harpocrates. These are the mysteries, the shush that you see all the celebrities doing. She's doing that symbol. This was all predictive programming to Black Mirror. And she is dressed up just like the women, going up into space wearing the blue. And she's the space commander with the 6 people on board, because these are sex magic rituals. And she's holding a daisy which shows us springtime is here. It's all sex magic rituals in space in a relationship with Russell Brand, who gets charged for sexual assault.
Wow, what timing, right? So Russell Brand has all these women come out. And I thought that there's something up with that. That doesn't make sense. And then I was like, I bet there's a tie-in to Katy Perry, who went to this one monastery and bought this monastery from these nuns in California. Beautiful monastery. She wanted it. There was a corrupt priest that sold it to her, and the nuns were like, "What?" So she is one of the head nuns died, and she's trying to outlive the other one. I guess it was in court for a long time. I don't know what happened to it, but you're seeing these things play out, guys. You're seeing a lot of this stuff in art. You're seeing it on. This is basically art being, played out. It's a movie. It's all BS. Look how perfect and white that re-entry aircraft is right there. Usually when the craft come back in, there's burn marks from the atmosphere, and there's none. And somebody had a door open. Look, where you're looking inside, look like a bunch of mannequins in there. So there's a lot of things here that are not shaping up, right? So you have to look a little deeper. That's where Donut comes in. He breaks this stuff down perfectly. Good job, Donut. You knocked it out of the park again. I think he's got like crazy views on his breakdown of this. I think it's like 250,000 views, and he's like me. He gets suppressed like crazy because he's blowing them up. So good job on Donut. Let's look at the last of this.
Right before she goes into space, they launched at 9:30 a.m. 93. 93 is a dilemma for Aleister Crowley. When they were up in space, they said, "Take up space." In gematria, that equals 118, which is the Leviathan cross. There was the 6 women, but you also had 3 more on the team. It's the Deep Space Nine. Going back to ancient symbols, this goes back to ancient Egypt, the 9, Deep Space Nine. Having 9 people for the ritual. Here's Marina Abramovic doing her ritual for Microsoft with the 9 people. So this was the Masonic space ritual. Much love, and God bless you.
Absolutely.
Harry, underneath the Baphomet.
God bless all of us. we need it, right? With these demons all around us playing their little games and pushing their magic all at us like crazy. Pretty sad. So now we're going to go down another little rabbit hole, and that is with President Trump. President Trump is pretty much talking about amazing weapons that we have. And what do you mean we have all these amazing weapons that no one else has? So this is where we're going to go now. Time travel, portals, all kind of crazy stuff. So let's jump in.
Can't allow that to happen. And we're very powerful. This country is very powerful. It's far more powerful than people understand. We have weaponry that nobody has any idea what it is, and it is the most powerful weapons in the world that we have. More powerful than anybody not even close.
Yeah. I'm glad I'm on the Trump team. Right. But of course, the deep state, they're like, well, we got some powerful weapons too. Yeah, they do. And yeah, they use them on us, using on us right now. Weather warfare. Absolutely. But there are new weaponry. I believe that a lot of the chemtrailing was needed. I had Juan O'Savin on a show probably a year and a half, 2 years ago, where he just basically let that cat out of the bag. And he talked about how chemtrailing was putting stuff in the sky that resisted re-entry rockets from coming in. It created an environment where these re-entry rockets cannot come through it. Of course, it's toxic, right? But there's like a trade-off in everything, right? So Juan recently said that, we have a lot of states are saying, hey, after 20, 25, 30 years, whatever, all of us talking about chemtrailing, how bad it was. So finally, they're like, well, we're going to pass laws to say there can be no more chemtrailing. Just out of the blue, and now it's stopping. Here in the skies here in Florida, there's no chemtrailing. So Juan said that the reason why they continued, even though they had the technology, that they didn't need to do it anymore, was because they didn't want to give up the possibility that they could figure out, hey, they've got some kind of new technology, they don't need chemtrail anymore. Wow. So yeah, they're just like everything else, guys. There's bad chemtrailing, there's good chemtrailing. Of course, even good chemtrailing there's problems with it. But what we're seeing is lots of different things they're doing with that. One of the things I had an expert on that talked about how every time we go in a jet, there's thousands of jets that fly every day. And all of those jets have chemicals within the fuel that goes up and creates a bubble in the atmosphere that is keeping a dome over us to keep us warm, because we're supposed to be going into a global cooling cycle. All right. I've talked about this for years. So now the deep state has been taking that and running that we have to have, green energy and all that kind of stuff. And that's what they do. They're evil. They take advantage of good things that are going on, and they flip them to their side. All right. So there are good things that are being done with that. And of course, there are evil things would be hurricanes that are formed, and stuff that's dumped into those hurricanes are in the skies that help create an environment where hurricanes, storms, tornadoes, and so forth, and HARP and directed energy weapon use can really create superstorms. And there are energies that are coming off the sun that they're also taking advantage of. So when you go into lower sunspot activity, you're going to get a lot of electrical energy coming off the sun. And that causes the earth to do crazy things, and volcanoes, earthquakes, and so forth. That's naturally going to happen. Now, at one time, I think that we had all of these pyramids and so forth around the world that regulated that. And we went through a destruction cycle because of the deep state back then, Atlantean times. And a lot of that stuff was destroyed. And it was destroyed over time. Atlantis, the last sinking of Atlantis, there were several wars that caused that eventual demise of Atlantis and all those high technology and so forth. And now we're starting to come back. So all of those evil Atlanteans are being exposed now. The Elon Musk is now a goodie. Was maybe a bad guy at one time, and now he's on the good guy side. That's my belief, and a lot of people say the same thing. And we have other people that are not so good. Jeff Bezos, as you saw with the stupid rocket bullshit thing that we just went through and just talked about and watched. We have Bill Gates. I mean, you name it. There's a lot of bad people out there. And I think these are ancient Atlanteans that were evil scientists and rulers and so forth. So we're going to clear that out this time. The good guys win this time. It's a cycle. We're in the cycle. We're in a down cycle when that happened. Now we're in an uptrending cycle, and it's going to be for the better. It is a done deal. All right. So now we're going to look at, did the White House just confirm teleportation technology? So as we just saw, President Trump says we have weapons no one's ever seen. That's good. And even the deep state. So the deep state's probably shaking in their little boots, right? Their little, spiffy boots. And, they probably, some of them have hoofs in them, but they're still shaking in them. They are full of fear. They project fear. They're psychopaths. They don't work well under pressure. All right. They have plans. They try to stick to their plans. Of course, their plans are going awry, and they're not really working out like they wanted them to. President Trump being a great example of that. He wasn't supposed to be elected. He wasn't supposed to be elected the first time. And the second time, I think that was just a sting operation to let them expose themselves, the really bad people, and then they expose themselves. They're still exposing themselves, of course, and they're going to be taken down piecemeal over time. But what do we have to get control of? I keep saying it, the judicial. So if we don't get control of the judicial, it will continue to drag along. All right, so let's look at a little bit more of this. This is from Benny Johnson. He's been doing a lot of good stuff over the years. I don't agree with everything that he says, but I don't agree with myself sometimes. So let's look at this.
Within 24 hours of each other, Donald Trump says we have secret weapons that nobody even understands. Trump chooses his words very carefully. You can always tell when Trump gives a little bit too much and then pulls back. He says we have weapons.
Yeah, see, I don't agree with that. I think Trump absolutely knew what he was doing. I think he knows everything. And I see where he came out just recently against, and I read everything. I'm all over the board because everything ties together. There's no separation. So it's all under God's. Everything is of God. So I want to know everything that I can, and I look at the economy and all these things, and I know that the Federal Reserve, Powell is like, yeah, I'll drop the rates when I feel like it, kind of thing. And while there's a destruction going on in the economy, Trump is trying to get him to drop it because he wants to make it easier for the American consumer. Because the American consumer is the strongest in the world, and you take care of the American consumer, eventually, even with a stock market crashing, which does the American consumer all have stocks? No, I don't have stocks. Who has stocks? Who cares? All right. If you have silver, you're going to be good. If you don't, then you're not going to be so good. But anyway, this is where it's going to go. Trump is trying to push that, and these guys are pushing back. So Trump is like, hey, maybe you should, drop the rates. And if not, then I don't know if he actually said that he should maybe, be taken off and somebody else replace him. I think that was assumed. And then, so he's saying that they should drop the rates, and, Powell is always behind. So then they're saying, well, Trump is like, so they're putting words in his mouth, and they've been doing this for years. They're saying, but he's scared. He's scared. I said that. He's scared that it could have a negative effect on the economy. I don't think he said that. I didn't hear that anywhere. But that was in the narrative, and that's such BS. So I mean, people, like go off and they make claims, and it's probably it's like, no, he didn't say that. He didn't say that at all.
Within 24 hours of each other, Donald Trump says we have secret weapons that nobody even understands. Trump chooses his words very carefully. You can always tell when Trump gives a little bit too much and then pulls back. He says we
gives a little bit too much and pulls back. That is a technique. That is a technique. I'll show you badass, and then I'll just step back and see what you're going to do. That's brilliant. That's a warrior.
Weapons that no one even understands, which is an interesting way to talk about a weapon, and that is more powerful than anything on Earth. Now, this is a president who regularly talks about nuclear weapons and their capacity. He does so in a very different tone. On the heels of that, Ashton, we have the White House chief technologist saying we can annihilate distance, we can manipulate time and space. Sure as hell sounds like teleportation technology to me, as somebody who's just reading the literal words. Here they are. But again, I haven't made a career looking into this stuff. Can you please unpack this for me?
Sure. Yeah, the Trump thing, I mean, he's telling...
All right, so teleportation. I have been completely across the other side of the world, and I had thoughts, and my wife had the same thoughts instantaneously. We've confirmed that many times. There is no distance when it comes to consciousness on that level. It's a higher dimensional consciousness, higher dimensional we've seen Russia has incredible technology that they're using against the Ukrainians and blasting the hell out of them right now. The Ukrainians, the NATO, United States, what we did give them, of course, that was a deep state military that was giving away stuff. It wasn't the good guys, all right? That stuff's been held back. So they've been giving them a bunch of junk, and the Ukrainians are getting slammed because Russia has super high technology, very, very high technology. And they have missile systems that could hit London or Paris. They get launched, and there's nothing that even if they know they were launched, there's nothing it can do. It's so fast. They'll be blown up. All right. So this is the technology that's out there, and we have even faster. All right. So there has to be some kind of bending of time and space that's going on here. Magnetics, electrical energy, and so forth. Gravity is all bullshit. Gravity is bullshit. Electricity, magnetics, basically is what that's what Tesla was all about. And Tesla, as we know, and Trump's uncle, right? They knew stuff. And of course, we had the Baron Trump, books and so forth. And so it's amazing. It's all out there. So it's all coming together.
An absolute truth when you hear him say, we have stuff that nobody understands. And when he just does a shrug and says, yeah, nobody's going to do anything. I mean, that is the most confident thing that I've ever seen Trump do. That would scare me if I was one of our adversaries. He's not exaggerating at all. If anything, he got talked to after that. And they said, hey, dial it back a little bit. You're letting a little bit too much information.
Do you really think they wanted him to dial that back? They all talk, guys. I promise you. I've been in these circles. And everything that's said is said with a purpose. And then there's a response. They're watching for the response. They can anticipate what the response is going to be. They're watching for a response on many different levels. And it's one of those F around and find out type things. Once I say this, you want to F around, you're going to find out now. So we told you that we have badass technology. You guys are still playing with technology that's outdated against the world. We're getting close to the point where you're going to find out. I think we're very close to this, but we have to get control of the judicial
information out there. And then when Krastios, he's the science and technology advisor to the president. He has this letter. I read that, I thought it has to be out of context somehow. It's actually even crazier in context. He says, we have stagnation was a choice. He's saying that we said, you know what? We've got to slow our technology down because we found this technology that's so powerful, we're not ready for it. And he got ready. That allows them to white window, and that's selling it. Why they're not making it apparent? This is national security. We can't beat around the bush on this. When you talk to Angelina Luna and the other congressmen and stuff like that, they know it's national security as well. When those people are doing the UFO hearings, they know that the energy source is national security. The moment you see those...
The energy source. So the energy sources have been kept suppressed for a very long time. That's because the bad guys have been using them. And the good guys were trying to catch up. They caught up, and now they're surpassing them. At some point, when the bad guys, the Khazarian mafia, trying to rule the world, is defeated once and for all, then all of these technologies get released for the world to start to utilize. It's going to be phenomenal. Free energy, med bed technologies beyond what we have right now with LifeWave and the LifeWave water machine that's coming out. So even beyond that, by a good measure. But of course, that stuff is creeping out and it's available now. And it's available now because of the Trump effect and the JFK Jr. effect. That's starting to happen. And it's happening on a very rapid pace. It's very exciting. I know David Schmidt, who's the inventor of the LifeWave stuff, and he is way advanced. All right. So we're going to see a lot of people like that come out with technologies that are going to be very, very exciting going forward. And these guys are starting to skim the surface of what's coming.
orbs of plasma circling around the plane. In order to create the plasma ball where it's structured and not just dissipating like a lightning strike would, they've already cracked fusion. This means that they have perfect control over plasma, to the point where why are we making fusion reactors with these big metal donuts? They can make fusion happen just with a ball of plasma floating around in the sky. That's what those orbs indicate right there. This just completely, speaking of the word annihilate, annihilates the whole UFO community narrative. Is that the reason why they've been hiding this stuff isn't because of aliens. It's because they've figured out what we would call free energy. They've cracked fusion. They figured out how to get energy just from the hydrogen atom. And the way they're doing it here is something called a low energy phase transition. Imagine physicist and engineer, he's done. This is nothing. You unify all these concepts. You bridge.
Is this? We've shortened distance, like we've made a really fast plane. Okay, it's not like we're condensing distance, like we're breaking distance barriers, like sound barriers, or so on. We're destroying distance. Doesn't mean anything anymore.
Right.
Is this? Am I following what he's saying there correctly?
Distance is an illusion. So the former director of Lockheed Martin Stoneworks, the secret projects where they do all the secret advanced stuff, back in the 90s, Ben Rich, he said straight up, we have the ability to do anything you've seen on science fiction, anything you've seen in the shows. And so somebody asks him, how is this possible? How would teleportation be possible? And he says, how is ESP possible? And the guy responds, time and space are another. Distance is an illusion. And he says, exactly. What we think of as distance is an illusion. And how do you unify all these concepts? You say, there's an extra dimension of energy all around us all the time. In fact, this extra dimension of energy gives space-time its form. What we see all over around us isn't nothingness. We are in a medium of energy. We just don't see it because it's quantum. It's invisible. Just like magnetism. Magnetism exists. We don't see it, but we can see the effects of it. That is also true of the zero-point energy. And you're seeing Dr. Greer here speak. I've actually watched a lot of the interviews he's done with engineers, including people like Hal Puthoff, Eric Davis, for example, that are government black project physicists and engineers. And they explain this concept clearly. If there is this energy all around us, we're in this medium of energy, then the thing that physics has gotten wrong, the classical physics and academia has gotten wrong, is they think that this zero-point energy is insignificant. They think there's nothing there that you can tap into. And
they know this, guys. They teach us. They dumb us down. They dumb our science down. They dumb our math down. They dumb our kids down as much as they can get away with until we stand up and say enough of that BS. So we have a lot. We can move very quickly. Once you learn something, like I could teach you how to shoot. I can have you shooting like an expert within, a couple hours. It's not that hard. But people that don't know how to do it, they go out and try, and they've heard from somebody, or they have somebody that's a hokey doke type of person is going to teach them how to shoot, and they'll learn bad stuff, right? And then I have to unteach that. If you're like a newbie, I'll take you and I'll have you shooting like an expert within a couple hours. All right. It's not that hard. And it won't be that hard when we start to get the real science and when we start to get the real mathematics. We will move very quickly forward on a lot of different areas. It's going to be exciting.
You get to zero, that's it. But the Casimir effect and various other experiments about zero energy can very
suddenly make into mainland application.
Yeah. It's even crazier than that. It's hard to even fully grasp what we're talking about here, because there is absolutely no challenge to the United States if we have this weaponry, unless somebody else has this weaponry as well. Submarines, every submarine on planet Earth, its location is known exactly. This technology, we can, like with the same exact quantum technology that we use to control the orbs, you can basically map the entire planet, including underneath the water, inside buildings, just like the Dark Knight, where they can see everything. There's no hiding anywhere. Your aircraft carriers, obsolete, useless. Your nuclear weapons, not only can we warp them and teleport them back onto you, and there's no stopping the phase transition, no stopping it showing up on you, we can hit it with a directed energy weapon from space the moment the ICBM takes off and blow up your nuke or make it inert, whatever we want to do. Nuclear weapons are not only obsolete, but they're actually a liability. Series 1 scoops. Every time you get on an airplane, you're not going to mess with us. And that's why Trump is going, we got stuff so far beyond them, so they're not going to do anything. That's why he's doing the shrug.
The people who are building this, right? The Lockheed, Skunk Works, and Black Ops, the people who were presumably would be a part of the build for this, those people are saying that it's Star Trek technology. I mean, dude, they're using Star Trek. So it's like, what technology exists in Star Trek every episode? Every movie? Yes.
And then gatekeeping too. So I want to point out a few other people, because people need to know, who are these people gatekeeping? Al Kudoff is the #1 world's leading expert on zero-point energy. He's also the government's #1 Black Project physicist. I was talking to AARO, the one that you probably talking, you know about them, the UFO investigating people. The AARO guy is going like, Al Kudoff is a legend. I like respect him and all this stuff. I'm going, what? Why do you connect to this guy? And then the other guy, his right-hand man, is Eric Davis. Eric W. Davis is the world's leading expert on warp drives and wormholes. They've got multiple papers that were declassified. Like, the government's going to come out when this is all true, and everybody starts getting mad about how they've been hiding warp drives from us. And they're just going to go, we weren't lying to you. We've been telling you. We got all these papers that are out there. You just ignored them. You said they weren't real. Salvatore Pais' patents, 5 Navy patents that explain the balls of plasma. Everybody says, oh, no, they're not real. The Navy was battling the patent office, having their lawyers say that stuff's real. The rest of the world just ignores it. So I think it's really a question of, like, when are we going to wake up? When are we going to out there?
Like, right? If you did this incorrectly, then it's like $1 trillion industry's gone forever, right?
You have the money side of it. What would happen if we have, even if it's not?
Now watch these balls of energy that are going around the aircraft, and then you're going to see it go poof.
Absolutely free, but extremely cheap energy, 10 times cheaper than what we have right now. How many industries get wiped out overnight? What happens to the stock market? You could argue 50 or 60% of companies immediately, their future prospects go to zero because their industry is completely obsolete, given this new technology. And so I like to steel man the other side of it, even though I'm on the side of disclosures. Why would they hide it? There's actually some really good reasons. You know, you could say, well, the disruption of it, the mental toll people are going to have. There are people that told me they would end their lives if it turns out that I'm right. That's a scary thought for me, just because of all the brainwashing that we've been succumbed to. And then also, the part that really, I think, I'm surprised a lot of people don't understand, but I think that physicists will realize, this here, if you take this to its logical extreme, the technology we're seeing, it's the end of the world. Scale this up. Why? If we can make negative energy, it's basically like cheating the laws of physics. And that basically opens the door to infinite destructive potential. So,
Or infinite creative, guys. So that's really where we're going to go. We're going to the creative side of this. Of course, just like everything, you got a bad judicial, you got a good judicial, you got a bad political side, you got a good political side, bad education, good education, bad medical, good medical. It's all coming to the point where it's all good. It's all good. Right? And you're like, I don't believe it. Well, it's okay. Just kick back and it'll happen. War on coal is finally over. Talking about energy experts. So we have to have coal. So we've been lied to about the energy from the deep state because they were going to shut us. They were going to shut us down. I have been in Pakistan and other countries in the Middle East, Afghanistan, lots of other countries, where they have times where they take the energy offline. They just shut it down because they don't have enough. And imagine having a plant where you're creating something, and during the day you have to have several hours where all your workers have to go home. You have to do a siesta, I guess, and then they come back. So this is a planned, takedown of a lot of these countries. We just had Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico is part of United States. It's a territory. They're not going to make it a state until they get rid of the deep state out of there, because the deep state takes advantage of it being not a state, so they don't have to pay taxes. That's why we have Federal Reserve offices there that are basically, that's where they're maintained, and we have the IRS corporate headquarters there. So we are going to get to the point where no one pays taxes, but they were going to destroy us. They were going to take everything away from us. Remember how they said in the WEF, World Economic Forum, by 2030, you will own nothing and you will like it. You will love it. It's like, you don't have to own anything. We'll own everything for you, and you won't have to own anything. That doesn't sound good to me. That doesn't sound good to me at all. I don't like paying property taxes. I think it's bullshit. If I own something and I'm paying property taxes, what is that? So I'm paying rent on something I own. It's ridiculous. So a lot of this stuff was pre-planned obsolescence of the United States. They were going to take us down. They were going to start a civil war here. It's being pushed back. It's being taken out as fast as possible. It won't be as bad now, but there probably is going to be some problems. We've already seen it with the Tesla silliness. There's people that can scramble very quickly now. They're compromised and they'll do what they want them to do. Now, if you think that you're safe somewhere way out in the boonies, they will hunt you down. They will come for you. They will come for those of us in very nice states. So we're all going to have to be head on a swivel at some point, and working to eliminate a lot of these baddies that are out there right now. So this happened. I think this was what's a date on this? April 18th. So a couple days yesterday. War on coal is finally over. It came out Friday. Energy experts say Trump admin's deregulation agenda could fuel coal's revival. Now, you need a foundation. Now, coal is obviously not as much as it used used to be. It has been, cleaned up massively. We need this coal going forward because America is going to grow like crazy, guys. Trump is pulling back all the industries that have been, sent overseas. China boomed because all of our factories went to China. Mexico is I've been down there for the last couple of years. It's incredible. In Mexico, they've taken our industry and they're getting rich. Canada, I don't know about Canada, but I know they took a lot of industry too. I don't know if Canada's getting rich, but maybe some Canadians have some say about that. I know a lot of people that got pushed out of Canada and they stole their bank accounts and all kind of crazy stuff from the trucker convoy. But we're seeing a revival that has already started to happen. And it's happening in a lot of different ways, guys. It's happening with me back on YouTube. It's happening with the military having the greatest recruitment in history. More people coming into the military right now than in history. It's incredible, all the things that are going on right now. So within the first months of his second administration, President Donald Trump has prioritized unleashing. You like that word? I do. Unleashing American energy, and has already axed several of what he considers to be burdensome regulations on the coal industry. Of course, the last administration hammered hell out of them. And administration before Trump came in the first time hammered hell out of coal. Right? It's a great industry. It's a great energy source. And we need that as we build out all the other energy sources. Now you're saying, well, I thought you were saying free energy. Well, if free energy came out tomorrow, how long do you think it would take for it to be utilized, and all the different things that would have to be built to take that free energy, because it's got to be beamed out in some way, some fashion, some form, or maybe there's some kind of system that's in your car where you don't get beamed energy. It's just your car creates it. We see magnetic forces and so forth that create energy, perpetual motion type things. I think those things are available. They will come out, but it's going to take time to convert that stuff. It's not going to be instantaneous. So we still need this stuff as we make the transition, guys. It's been that way forever. Think about when the internet first came out. There were a lot of people like, I'm never going to go to the internet. I'm never going to use it. I'm never going to get a cell phone. I'm never going to get a computer. And now look at us. All right. So people resisted for a long time, of course, but now if you don't have it, you're way. I can't imagine anybody not having it now. But at some point, maybe we won't even need that. There'll be something else that's going to come out, and that's the way it works. We're constantly evolving. Some of the things that we have found over the years, we're like, what the heck is this? And we're going to find out, well, that was technology they used back in Atlantis, and you can do all kind of crazy stuff with that. You can levitate. You can go through portals, and there's all kind of stuff that's going to come out. So, bolster coal-fired electricity generation. The Environmental Protection Agency said the move would bolster coal-fired electricity generation, ensuring that our nation's grid is reliable. So no blackouts and plenty of power for all those industries and factories that are going to start powering up, guys. That electricity is affordable for the American people, and that EPA is helping. Remember how the EPA was fighting us, and Trump's got good EPA guys in there now. It's helping to promote our nation's energy security. Wow. What a concept, right? So now everything's starting to turn around. So this is fantastic. This is magnificent. There's so many things that are coming on. And I've said over and over again, I could come on and talk about how we're winning the whole show, but I have to point out all this other stuff so that we can win more. Because we don't, if you don't know, there's like thorns out there. You're going to go out, oh, look at those flowers, and we'll grab those flowers, and you get thorns. Rose gardens are beautiful, but you have to be careful for the thorns, right? So we have some thorny judicial, we have some thorny education, we have some thorny this and that. So we can work around the thorns, but you have to know that they're there. And that's what we're going to have. So we don't want rolling blackouts, because they did research and they projected that there would be rolling blackouts to begin across the U.S. by 2028. That is not going to happen now, because we're bringing back coal. We're going to bring back a lot of sources, because I've seen fields full of solar power, and then you have like crazy amounts of hail come in, knocks hell out of it, and it's broke and it's not usable. So we can't depend on all that stuff. Some places they're putting in solar power, and there's not that much sun. Like up in Michigan and all these other places, they get sun at certain times of year, but they don't get it as much as like Arizona does. Arizona has massive deserts where there's no one. It's not going to hurt anything. Put some solar power places out there. Same thing with New Mexico. Same thing with Texas. Same thing, on and on. There's plenty of land here, but it shouldn't impede prosperity and growth, and it shouldn't be an eyesore or anything like that. You drive around some places and you see these windmills. They're like an eyesore. It's bullshit, and that's got to stop. All right, the American people need more energy, and the Department of Energy is helping to meet this demand by unleashing supply of affordable, reliable, secure energy sources. Secure. So do you think that maybe the Chinese and the Ukrainians and the Islamists and so forth that got smuggled in here, you think they might hit our grid system? Yeah. You think they might hit our water and our power and so forth? Yeah. But you want them to be reliable, and you want to make them hardened, and you want to have people that can protect them. That's what we're going to have to do in the near term. But eventually, we won't need to do that anymore. It's going to be that all of that's going to be cleaned out. All the people that are of low vibrational frequency consciousness won't be moving forward somehow, some way. I don't know how that transpires, how that goes forward, but there's no way. There's no way. There's like, imagine somebody wanted to be a Navy SEAL and they can't swim. All right. So, well, go to the Army. But even in the Army, you got to swim a little bit. So I would be like, I would recommend somebody, well, don't try the SEAL team, because you're not going to make it, right? If you can't swim, you go in. I mean, there's a possibility you might learn in the SEAL teams, but I don't know. There's some people never. I talked to so many people when I was a bud instructor. This is the first time I've seen the ocean. Oh wow, that's good. You're gonna have some fun. I'm gonna teach you to have fun. Yeah, right. So, and they do. They get pushed hard and then have a good time. It's like, wow, I did amazing, possible stuff, and now I feel very confident about myself, and I can do amazing things with the rest of my life. So that's the way that works. But some people aren't cut out. They aren't cut out for going forward like this MS-13 bubbas. They're not going forward, guys. All right. They're going to sit in cells for the rest of their lives, and that's it. Some of the people that have done bad things here in America are going to sit in cells for the rest of their lives if they're lucky. And that's going to be it. Under Biden's signature climate bill, the Inflation Reduction Act, the U.S. the Inflation Reduction Act, what a clown town. By restricting energy, it causes inflation to go up. So you're going to see inflation start to come down as energy costs go down. So pump, baby, pump, and bring back coal, beautiful coal, and we're going to have an amazing downturn in inflation rates. Massive. Inflation, just like when Trump was here last time in power, inflation went down, down, down. Then, of course, you got the deep state came in and with their little puppet boy, and things went up, up, up. They would still be going up, out of control, but they're going to start to turn around. All right. Pharma employees removed from FDA advisory committees. Wow, what a concept. Wow, how did that ever start? What a bunch of dumbassery. U.S. Food Administration, Drug Administration, FDA Commissioner Martin Macri announced a new policy directive limiting employees of companies the agency regulates. Wow. Oh, we're coming a long way, guys. Very, very fast. Such as pharmaceutical companies from serving as official members of FDA advisory committees. So for the longest time, these pharmacy reps and so forth in these companies, work to, be the top in their companies, and then they knew they're going to go to the FDA and make even more money on the government payroll, right? And it was just, and once they got there, they're like, oh yeah, that's safe. Yeah, sleight of hand. That's safe. There's no problem with that. Go ahead. Let's inject the kids with all kinds of stuff all the way up, and once they're born, start injecting the heck out of them. So there's lots of problems with that, and RFK Jr. is looking into that, autism rates and all that kind of stuff. So it is going to be very interesting to see that turnaround. Now, autistic children, there are some of them that are telepathic. So imagine you or me. We get suppressed. We get that thing in your arm, and everything gets suppressed, right? And so on the surface, we look dumbed down, but inside, we're like on a different level now. So some of these children that are harmed by some of these things, and I think they're one of the reasons why they're being harmed is because they know we got some really galactic children coming in, right? Very high dimensional children coming in, and they're trying to suppress that. And that's I don't think that, I know that, right? So that's one of the reasons why we have that stuff going on. That's why we got to turn it around. Just say no. Just say no. All right. If you're mom or dad, just say no at this point, or grandma. Help people figure it out. Or grandpa. So we're seeing that get turned around. So some of those autistic children are super intelligent on a different level, telepathic, tapped into God source energy and channel information. It's just crazy. So finding somebody that can communicate with them is a challenge. And even normal kids that come in that are little galactics, that their parents don't understand them, if they were a little bit more open, they could find out that you get some smartness going on, and need to put them in special schools or something so that they can develop that. So it'll be interesting going forward. but that former employees removed from FDA advisory committees, that's a big step forward. All right. I've been watching the chat. Don't see any questions or anything. You guys can throw some. Hey, Michael, sorry I fell asleep waiting. All right. Mama Chola, come on. So, I mean, it is what it is. So you can watch it later. It'll still be there. So, yes, Theodosius 111, they stole those buildings from whoever built them, I think. Watch this new house being built, very expensive neighborhood on a hill hidden from people who are ignorant. So there's technologies out there that are being snuck in. Yeah. They're within neighborhoods. There's like towers that look like Tesla towers that are out there spread across the environment. So I think we're going to see a lot of those going forward. A lot of that stuff is going to be powered up when it. That donut podcast, he goes down the rabbit hole. He does a good job and very understandable. I like that guy. I've always liked him. Liked him for like, I think he's been around for I've been watching him for 5 years. He's suppressed, like I said, like many of us, but I think we're going to start to come back. I've actually got 2,000 new subscribers since the channel popped again. So keep spreading the word. Keep thumbs up and keep making comments. That brings in the algorithm goes, oh, what's going on over there? What's everybody's having fun over there? Let's go have a party. So get the party going. Let's get this party started. All right. It's already started. Let's get more people involved, right? All right, guys. You know the deal. Stay in the love vibration. And we're going to win because we're in the love vibration. They're in fear. So we're not God-fearing. We're God-loving. Yeah, remember that. Right? And I'll see you guys next time.